Hey friends, it's Lee Davis. I'm not wearing these glasses to be to look hip or anything. The fact is, I'm really blind, and I need them to see when I'm not wearing contacts, which I am not, obviously. Um, so anyway, yeah, I'm gonna do another video and draw for you all. My daughter is I'm sad to say homesick. She's incredibly congested. Um, it's either bad allergies or a bad cold. At this point I cannot tell. But she is in the other room with cartoons and toys and fruit, and seems to be in good spirits. But yeah, she's really congested. So anyway, if you hear me hollering back and forth with her, that could potentially happen. So before I get down to it, let me use my high-tech Scotch tape adjustment method to see if I can get my camera arranged the way I need it to be. Oh, how did I do this last time? I apologize for this. I just wanted to say hi to everybody face to face. Oh, something like that. How's that look, everyone? Would you all bear with me 1 minute? Let me get some tape to reinforce it. Don't worry, don't go away. I'm right here. Yeah, so if I do more of these videos, apparently I'm gonna want to start thinking about getting a better method than Scotch tape. All right. So anyway, I actually went a couple. Let me turn this light off. I don't think we need to. All right. I went ahead a couple pages and saved the second portion of page 13. I don't know. Okie doke. So we're opening Manga Studio. We're attempting to get our tablet in place so everyone can see. Where was I? Shall I show you? Let's look at page 15 because I actually finished this one. Just since. No, I didn't. No, I'm thinking of 14. Okay. You can take a look. I made some notes there. I had all these ideas occur to me and didn't want to forget them from where I want to take this before the final page of issue 6. This again is issue 6 of Door to Death. Okay, 14 I finished. There you go. And this one I actually did the other day at my daughter's preschool. They had an hour delay due to snow, and they are kind enough to let me just hang out in the library there and be the weird guy with his drawing tablet. And the lighting, I realized after the fact, the lighting was kind of affecting my my drawing. Okay, take a look without. See, I love that. That is just such a breath of fresh air when I get to get rid of all those ugly pencil marks and look at the final product. This was I kind of took the inspiration of this one from a dream, where for some reason I was in this lodge, this giant lodge somewhere up north. I think they said Wisconsin. So I said I think I can use that for my comic because I kind of like the idea of that. I thought if he's having a dream visitation by otherworldly beings, they could perhaps express their message through familiar faces in a dream. And I do realize that's a lot like that movie Contact. So, but not blatant plagiarizing. I just thought that, you know, when you have a dream and you wonder if it meant something, you can only ask yourself. I mean, that was not my, I changed things around a little bit. That friends were giving this protagonist some information from a higher dimension that he needs to utilize. It stood to reason that it was not his old friends, in fact, but they were using those familiar faces to just kind of warm him up as they delivered the message. And I know that's a ton like contact, but I think that's just the logic I put behind a dream revelation being expressed through friends who really have no business traversing dreams and bringing information from a higher dimension. So anyway, I wanted to save this page for you because one thing I know is when always really when I was doing the really gnarly monster stuff, that's when people were just kind of like bees to honey. People usually gathered around when I was doing stuff like this. So I hope this can be a treat to you. This page is going to focus on me just creating a beast, a nightmare creature. So I'm not going to have a whole lot of technical stuff going on here so much as I'm just going to be illustrating a lot. Let's see how fast we can make this. I'd love to see this go by fast. Pardon me, I do still need to drink my coffee. So I apologize. I kind of thought just making these videos. I used to, you know, oftentimes when I'm trying to make some video and I'm talking about something I like, I really stress over just kind of getting to the point, and I think there's a time when you definitely want to do that. But for something like this, when I'm just kind of in my zone, and I do apologize for rambling and being distracted and maybe even leaving you hanging a little bit. I know we don't need that in this very fast-paced age where there's a million other things you could be watching. I just feel the best route to take is to take it at my own speed. And in that sense, it's natural. And even if I say something really stupid and pointless, which I'm very prone to doing, I'm gonna avoid starting over. I'll just kindly, politely remind you that I have a bad habit of saying really stupid and pointless stuff. And God bless you, but take it or leave it. Ha 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 ha. I hope today you can enjoy watching me create a monster that is, I guess, mostly subconscious. I mean, oftentimes when I'm doing stuff, sometimes I just let my pen start flying. I actually, these days I rarely do that because usually when I'm drawing I have a purpose. I don't allow myself to sit around and doodle much. Usually when I've got my pen in my hand, I'm working on something, just because there's a lot of stuff I really want to get done. I'm not getting any younger, and the time for doodling, I feel that time is long gone. I mean, if I'm idling somewhere, and I mean, I might just start doing it. I might just start doodling just because I'm stuck somewhere. These days they got daggone iPhones for that, but I mean, I might do it if I am not able to get to my drawing materials. But when I've got my stuff all ready and I've actually got some time to myself, which is extremely rare, I'm trying to work on something. It's what people with actual careers like to call a work ethic, I guess. Not to say I don't have an actual career. I kind of sort of do. I did once. Anybody who gets to know me, I always meet these yuppies who say, "What do you do?" And I'm like, well, you know, none of your business. No, the thing is, you know, I worked all those retail jobs, and that was because, you know, I used to just kind of bite my tongue about it, and I'd waffle about it, and I mean, I often got the feeling they just kind of walked away with the impression that I was a bum. And I kind of got tired of that, and so I started just kind of saying, hey, look, I moved around a lot with my parents. I was denied access to a lot of things that I wanted and needed in many cases, and I've had several careers that two two real careers. I had several several opportunities that just were taken from me by circumstance, and I still kept on trying, and I gave up some great things for my family, and I kept on trying no matter where I went, and it just got to the point where the only thing I could get by following my family around, and after giving up the job that I really loved, that made me very happy, and feeling of fulfillment. I only got these awful retail jobs. It was really soul crushing. I don't think I could have kept that up forever. So now being a parent and doing art is very rewarding, I'd say. Parent part will stress you out, but it is, you know what, I dare say I'm pretty good at it. I think my daughter, I think she'll agree someday. I'm the one who has to say she has to floss her teeth, and she doesn't like me for that too much, and then I have to explain how she's going to get cavities if she doesn't. I really don't want to use scare tactics on a child, but I got to tell her, you're going to get a cavity again, and she kept on she was being given candy by other people, and was very resistant against her toothbrush for a while, and she ended up with some cavities. And that was no fun. I really try to avoid letting her have too much candy. Okay, let's see what kind of mouth we should give this creature. I'm going to tell you the biggest... Oh, poop. No, that's not going to work. Okay, yeah, I almost messed up there, folks. I'm highlighting all this because, as you can see in the foreground, I've done... This guy does not have a name yet. I'm calling him the Creepy Sushi Shish Shailman or whatever. He runs the Shish place, of course. Yeah, I did the foreground because I thought that was a little dull anyway. You might get an idea of what's going on here if you paid attention to the last page. Otherwise, feel free to check the issue when it comes out and figure out more. Stick around long enough for this video, and I'll probably give some hints and some spoilers. Hints and or spoilers. No big deal. I don't think it's going to ruin the experience of enjoying the comic if you're capable of enjoying stuff like this. If you're watching this video, I would assume you are. Maybe you just want to see how I draw. Maybe you genuinely like this kind of stuff. A lot of cool stuff happening. I gotta tell you, the Junji Ito, for those of you with access to the Crunchyroll, the Junji Ito animation came out. They started off with what's that kid's name? That evil, twisted kid. Boy, he just does some crazy stuff. You feel bad for the people involved in the story, and there's different kind of stories. Not always just so much capers. This one seems Shoichi is his name, I think. And he's this creepy, sinister, crazy, twisted kid. And he's hard to describe. I mean, a lot of he's one of those characters. I guess you can call him evil, twisted, but he's a little more complicated than just that. He's got the mentality of a prankster, but he seems to have tapped into some kind of supernatural mischief. Okay, what am I even doing here? All right, let's start getting into the spoilers. This what was I gonna say? I'm rambling. I'll lose myself. Get on another topic before I finish. Complete the previous thought. That's my chaotic mind, much like my chaotic art. It's just how my brain. What was I just talking about? Yeah, I think there was a thought I wanted to complete. Okay, yeah, drawing amorphous creatures like this, and well, actually, just drawing the creature originally. It's always a mutation. It's some hideous mutation of flesh as rendered by some demonic otherworldly force. It might use flesh of this world and manipulate it once it takes control of it and mutate it. And it's a chaotic force, so I think in some cases the flesh can just keep changing, but I also think at some point it comes to a standstill once it's kind of found its form, perhaps. So you can assume a lot of these things, some of them are straight out of the other world, I think, but some of them used to be humans, and they changed drastically, as you can see. This used to be a human, as far as I'm concerned. This pair was once human, and it got we don't know yet. I don't even know yet. I don't know how, but at one point it got possessed, taken hold of, seduced by the dark side, if you will, and transformed and lost their humanity. And I often think that their humanity has been at some point banished. Like you got to ask yourself if this demonic force is taking over this human. At one point, is the soul kind of purged? So I think there's it's like in the fantasy, I think there's a purging process. As far as this thing having two heads, I got to think one is the original head, so I'm going to make it a little more human-like. And one of these days, maybe I can get back to where I was to what I was trying to say about all this. When I'm creating these monsters, it's definitely a lot of subconscious creation. Very little of it is planning, but I do have, I don't want to call it formulaic, but I do have kind of, typical trademarks. I think I just got used to drawing or envisioning when I'm making monsters. I apologize for my hand getting in the way, but I haven't figured out how to turn my hand invisible yet, so we'll just make do. Yeah, and when I'm doing these things, it's fun creating the first time, and then I gotta tell you, sometimes it's a real drag. Once I'm done, and I got to draw the thing again, because then I got to go back and reference all the features, all of these crazy features, So we'll have fun with this one, and then from here on out, we've made the impression, we've made the theatrical impression on this panel, and from here on out, I can get a little more, loose and relaxed. Well, I'm relaxed now, but I mean, not as detailed, simpler drawings. We've made the big impression here. You see, it has been revealed, and I'm just frankly just not getting it. After I make the big reveal of a creature like this, and I give it a treatment like this, and all the detail. Let's save. I'm in a habit of saving this tab. If this were to go out of batteries, it's plugged in now, but if I'm on the go, this thing goes out of batteries and I lose my file. Usually it retrieves it, but you do not want to lose a significant amount of work. That'll drive you crazy. I've been there. Yeah, so yeah, this is kind of the fun part because it hasn't been established yet. I can get away with making alterations if I want. Okay, one thing is I've decided to select this entire panel. I cannot select the smaller elements with what I call the magic wand. I really got to find out the name for this. I'm going to use these terms, and I always got to say that. I don't know if that's the right term. Okay, so this I think was the one that yes, I'm convinced this was the woman's head. Now I want to talk about the eyes, monster eyes, and I talk about Junji Ito a lot. Obviously, you will notice when he does his monsters or crazy people, and he just forgets the people, he just leaves it out. It really is a very creepy effect. It's like, which part of that eyeball is looking at me as it's slobbering that big, hideous, monstrous grin? Looks like it wants to swallow me whole. So sometimes I'll try a people, and this one usually gets me. If I can make it look like it is looking at you. See, that's creepy enough for me. I'm happy to stay with that. This other creature I think is closer to the horrible world from whence it has sprung. And I think I'm going to leave its eyes empty, vacant. And frankly, it doesn't look as maniacal as this one. So you can see here. All right. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Now I recall. I was going to make one arm is bloated into this giant awful mess. Now here comes a spoiler. If you're fixing to read the comic and you really want to know, you can put 2 and 2 together in a second here as soon as I say this part, so brace yourselves. Probably wondering what is so mystical about this sushi, this special fish this Shish distributor puts out. Now, those that might know some of my other work are familiar with the concept of kind of like with vampires. If you eat the flesh from this other world, you're infected. So there you go. At one point, and they were probably dirt balls to begin with. So I'm not saying they deserved this fate, but they probably brought it upon themselves. Probably did something shifty, ticked off a witch customer or something like that. Yeah, that sounds probable. They probably ripped somebody off who had some kind of ties to the local demonic forces and caught them in his trap. And now they're cursed, and now they're beyond gone. Not even probably by this point, not even their former selves. You know what? I dare say the husband, at least, he's probably got some of what he used to be dwelling inside him. I think he's gone mad with this power, this force inside of him. You know, what am I saying? You know, there's his wife's face right there. Maybe she's in there too. You also got to wonder, you know, if they stick around, if they kind of coexist with this other entity. Yeah, I'd say that's actually probably what's going on here. So, you know what? Let's try a trick to make this seem a little more fused together. Like I said, I can get away with more right now because I'm in the process of creation. I said we want these heads to be fused, right? Right, for a second I think I erroneously made it start looking as if it was just sprouting out behind this one, but we want it to be a twin head. That's a lot of fun. Pardon me real quick. Hey Emily, how you doing? She's got her toys, she's got her fruits and grits and cartoons and a big bed. So I guess if you gotta be homesick from school, that's the way to do it. Okay. Alright, so here comes this big bloated arm from whence the meat is being carved. So it's just carving off fillets of its flesh, and this is being sold as sushi, and obviously tastes divine. That's part of the seduction. A lot of this, if you ever, and the audio will be available soon. I'm using Bandcamp for my audio books. I would recommend. I mean, I'm very embarrassed because it's me doing all the voice acting and stuff. But if you ever check out, I apparently need more coffee. If you want to check out my audiobooks, I mean, I recommend it while simultaneously being very embarrassed by it, and that's just how it goes with creativity. You know, you're just showing a part of you and opening yourself up to ridicule and just the awkwardness of it all. I mean, and when I do my own audiobooks, I'm proud of them, but I give them out, you know, I mean. But you know, you're also just like, man, that's embarrassing. This person heard me doing the voice for this character and everything. But yeah, if you check out the audio for Corrales Coast, to this day, I remain pretty happy with that book. And it's like I say, I don't think I'm some kind of master writer, but I do believe in my imagination, in my stories, my characters, And if you like horror, like what you're seeing right here, I really think you'll like those books. They're several years old right now, but the mythology is still all intertwined in all this. If you get into the Door to Death comic, you will. The locales, my God! Actually, when I did the Door to Death, the first 5 issues, once I brought it back to the location and introduced, I think, just one of the characters from the book. Once I started doing that, man, that was great. Because I actually got to start, as much work as it was, I got to start drawing this place, from my stories, and that was just so much fun. Getting to bring it to life in illustration. But yeah, check out Corrales Coast after I put that up on Bandcamp, gaki.bandcamp.com. And you'll get more insight into all this. In that book is where the flesh was used as a means of infecting others. And then I got in later to how if you were not willingly open to seduction, you could deny it. I liked that intertwining of the spiritual battle involved in the body of the battle of the flesh. Which I think that no, you know what? I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting. I said I have to give these people these characters a choice of their damnation. Just if you get tricked into ingesting this thing, I think you have to willingly accept it to really let it take hold. You need to welcome it. If you deny it, I think the characters have a fighting chance. Yeah, I think the protagonist in that. What? I can't remember my protagonist's name from Corrales Coast. What was that dude's name? I think he ate some of it. He was tricked into eating some of this stuff, and it never got to him. And I like to think, I usually just say his spiritual, his connection to the higher power was strong enough that it was like a what do they call those things? My gosh, I really need more coffee. Made him immune. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. Let me drink some coffee. Here. There, look. You can see my coffee. You're welcome. I know that's really interesting. My gosh. Come on, brain, start working. At least, if nothing else, at least I can at least I can say I can just pick up a drawing pads and start doing stuff like this. Yes? Yeah, sure, sweetheart. Just the Hello Kitty plane? Alright, is there anything else I can do for you? You doing pretty good? Okay, she needs her Hello Kitty plane. I'm going to do this super quick, real quick. Give me about 20 seconds here, folks. Ooh, no. Yeah, no matter how little my brain is working for all this other stuff, at least I'm able to draw monsters. That counts for something, right? I think. Man, I'm groggy. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm back. Okay. Alright. I'm drawing a knife now. You can see. So it's still got this one hand. You figure, still got to use its limbs. It's a flexible appendage like a tentacle. I figure it used to actually be this woman's arm. See, there's her old head. Here's the new one taking over. Kind of seems like, now I'm thinking to myself, doesn't it seem like this head should be the secondary one because this is the invader to the body? But We can just use our imagination and say it pushed the spinal column over this way a little bit. It did all this other transformation. If we're going in that direction, then might as well go all out. These pages I think really count, and this is fun for me, and I did want to share this with you all. I think I would say, you know, I remember telling this one fellow, this friend of mine, who wanted me to illustrate a comic. I lost touch with him. I have not heard from him in the longest time. We had started a comic together, and he's a great guy. He was a lot of help to me, and naturally, when he said he wanted to kick some butt, as he put it, doing a comic together, I said yes right away, because this guy's just I love his imagination. He's an awesome musician. And I just remember telling him my method. I say, when I lay out a comic, you know, it's got a rhythm to it. The pages, I have the simpler pages where you get to relax and take it easy. And I think this is great for stories, and I would say, you know, horror stories for sure, because that's where my focus lies. But anything, you know, I think you know, you got this onslaught of heavy duty stuff. You know, it just wears a person out, and I mean, in some cases, maybe that's what the viewer is looking for. Like I think the Saw movies, if you can handle, I mean, that kind of fictional depiction of brutality and horror and gore and everything, and, you know, I mean, you know, if you can stomach it, then you can kind of make it through. But I think there's other cases where you want to take time out. You want things to just kind of mellow out for a little bit. Everyone takes a breath, has a couple laughs before things get horrible again. I would like to state for the record, I detest real life horror, and that makes it real tricky when I you know, growing up, you know, I became real rude and ugly minded. You know, I'd been bullied for so long, and my dreams had been under attack for so long. I got real nasty. I got real nihilistic. Deep down, I never was as negative of a person as I portrayed myself to be. And even back then, but you know, I grew older, and I just really, I think I really started wanting to establish a line, you know, where fantasy horror, you know, just where to put the line, and I'm pretty laid back, obviously, when it comes to a lot of this stuff. Some depictions in you know, in horror fantasy are too much for me. You know, whereupon once upon a time they would not have been quite as much. You know, just growing older and having a family and developing a strong conscience, despite all the negativity that has been dumped on you and the bad falls you've taken, your spirit has taken. Often subsequently your body goes along with your spirit. But you know, it's given me some trouble sometime, and you know, I've done a lot of praying, and you know, I want to find out where my work kind of fits into this place we are all coexisting, or mostly attempting to coexist on. And you know, I live in a great country where, you know, we have these wonderful freedoms, and I just don't want to mess that up. So I try to do good, and I say, even with my horror, where once upon a time it was just to piss people off and be nihilistic and angry and ugly and horrible. And once again, for the record, that was after trying to do it the nice guy way for many years and coming under constant attack and assault. You know, when I got it back, you know, and then when I approached art, like a dirty little secret it was. All I used it for, because that's what it had been reduced to, is really nothing. It had been so utterly destroyed, and I still had hands that were itching to illustrate, and then I just used that to say F you, basically. And I regret that. I think that was negative forces winning. You know, I don't think that's what I know that's not what God wanted at all. So I've tried to redeem myself a lot over the years, but I still do this stuff, and honestly, I have a lot of fun with this, and I put a lot of, pardon me, but I put a lot of sex and violence into my work. And I'd be lying if I said there wasn't some thrill in that, some giddy thrill. But I kind of, it's got I put levels on it, and even though a lot of it is for a thrill, and in some cases a really cheap thrill, some of it I'm even looking for laughs, and even getting laughs at the expense of a fictional character's expense, but because it is fiction, is not real people, I feel like it's a place where you can kind of get away with that. In the movies, they set up this horrible, terrible person. You finally see this horrible, terrible, lousy, rotten person get their just deserves, and there's no denying there's a little part, there's sometimes a big part of us says, yes, finally, that guy's biting it. But anyway, I guess what I'm going about in a long, convoluted way, I'm just saying, I did a lot of soul searching, I did a lot of praying, and I hear you, sweetheart, you silly head. Just wanting to find out what your purpose is, and I think that's harder for people who do horror or have spent a lot of their life just doing stuff to offend people. It's a bigger question. It's like, wait, how do I make this serve a higher purpose? How do I validate this? And with me, I said these stories, I think, I gotta do good by them. I want to feel like I'm doing what God put me on this earth to do. I want to feel like I'm doing good by it. Now, that was crazy as I'm drawing this horrible mutant creature and having fun with this and just getting a kick out of making this thing and talking about how its flesh is going to infect people, turn them into monsters. But you got to read the story, and that's why I often say people will look at my work, and I don't entirely blame them for saying what the F is wrong with that guy. And I will say, I am a wild-minded person, but I am abstract-minded person, but I am at least today a very nice guy. I would not like you to have met me when I was a teenager in my early 20s, and I was just coming out, I was just a kid basically who did not was not psychologically strong enough to know how to handle the kind of abuse and torment and bullying I dealt with for so long, and really as a defense mechanism, I just wanted to tick you off. And what I really regret is just taking that attitude and just living where it was almost like just a constant. I made like a ray gun of FU in my life, and it got that got kind of directed at people who otherwise I think really would have helped me. And it's like I said, even in high school and whatnot, when I was really suffering and confused and mixed up and just trying to act like a complete psycho so people would leave me the heck alone. I think a lot of very empathetic souls, and I remember them, saw me, and I think a lot of them took pity on me and were nice to me. So while I was trying to tick them off, I got a funny story. I remember actually freshman year, I remember there were these really nice girls, and I was really rude to them. And I hate that. But yeah, they were in my art class, and they were always very nice and kind to me. And I just kept on being, it's just I was so lost and gone at that point. It's like I couldn't, I said all this ugly and crass and horrible stuff just because by then I was just so, but, and I really hate myself for that kind of thing. I remember just seeing these really nice people. That class, that's one that sticks out. It's a freshman year, there were some real nice girls in my English class, I recall. They were just always very kind to me, and I think they just had those kind of warm personalities that they saw I was big big scared wimp who's just growing his hair long and drawing horrible pictures and being offensive as possible just because of that. That's kind of my go-to. Of course, I had a tremendous passion for death metal and horror movies, and it was the natural. It was the natural thing to go to. It's like I'd spent so many years looking and acting like a nice guy, and all again, man, they were calling me. Man, I remember that's just because I went to a middle school. I love Texas. I'm not dogging Texas at all, but I went to a middle school in Texas, and we just lived in this really elitist neighborhood. That's a problem. You move your kids to an elitist neighborhood. I don't care how nice the houses are. You check out the people, and if their noses are that high in the air, God, don't dump your kids into that. Just be careful about that. Yeah. So I mean, I love Texas, but and where I was at, I do not consider Texas. I consider that a branch of yuppiedom. There were a lot of kids who just thought they were the awesomest people in the freaking world. There's some nice ones out there. A couple of them, I think. Didn't meet too many of them, but yeah, a real bunch of what heads. And man, I got bullied really bad. I'd been taken from an environment in Virginia where I had a lot of friends who were just so nurturing and so awesome, and all of a sudden, man, I'm just in a situation. I was just calling. It's like these kids had no problem. I remember just getting pushed up against the lockers, and I was being called all kinds of fun names like queer and pussy and all that fun stuff. And I was just, man, I remember like the first day of school, this guy was like flicking my ears and calling me a pussy for like no reason, just because I was new, and I was just trying to make some jokes at first, and all of a sudden he's doing that. I'm saying, should I tell the teacher? I remember just tears were threatening my eyes. I said, man, you start crying right now, no matter how miserable you are. I went home. You don't really want to tell your parents you're going through that thing, so you come home all dismal, and you expect, hopefully people will reach out. I mean, I was just talking about empathetic souls. You're hoping people say like, whoa, what's wrong? And obviously the kid's not going to talk about that. So beware of jumping to the conclusion that your kid's just an idiot and doesn't care. I mean, if he's going through that kind of stuff, if he's having that much of a hard time at school, cut him some slack. Even if he's not doing that good at grades, maybe it's because he's sitting there wondering how long he's got to dwell on this planet if he's got to put up with a-holes like that, Like, how many more years of this of school with these kids do I have to go through? And yeah, when we get back to Virginia, we go to a totally different school, and I think I was just like on defense mode by that point. Yeah. So sadly, I think if I really wish I'd reverted to my old self, where I just said, I've got a fighting chance. I can use my powers for good, but I think it was already gone by that time. I before that I'd been trying to get into comics, and I'd even had some nice leads at the age of like 13, and things kept on getting the rug pulled out from under me, and denied access to a lot of things. And yeah. So I guess I'm getting back to the point where I just said this is it. Really is. It's just garbage. It's nothing. This thing is a curse. This is a curse. This is not a gift from God. This is an awful, horrible, terrible thing. And it was because I just had that hammered into my head so much. I treated it like a horrible, nasty, dirty little secret. And I'm disgusted by that. I just cannot believe, what I consider. No matter what someone else thinks of this thing inside of me, a part of who I am. No matter what someone wants to say, this, anything that is in my heart that I love to do is a gift from God, as far as I'm concerned, and it's my obligation to use it to the best of my abilities. To do God's work, if you will. That sounds crazy. I know people will scoff at that, but I mean, just to do something good by it. If that doesn't sound, if that is, I don't know. However you want to interpret that. I think, but I think a lot of people understand that is whatever you've got, you should use it for good, and I mean, as long as it's a good thing. I think being able to illustrate something is not. I just don't see where that is a bad thing. I can see it now. Now, go branching off into a different topic. I will say, obviously, if you are a parent and you are not inclined towards art, but your kid is, and they say they want to do comics, check them out. You just give them a chance to go for it. Say, here's some tools. You know, uh, keep me up on how things are going in school, and make sure you're trying there, and not screwing up, and it'll be a healthy thing. I guarantee you. And I hate to say it, but a lot of one thing I've observed is a lot of people really aren't meant to. I mean, let them. I think that sounds terrible. That's probably. I think what I mean by that is some people that might not totally be their thing. It might not be a burning passion, and I don't want to toot my own horn here, but it might not be the same kind of thing as it was with me. I don't know if a lot of people are like this. I think a lot of people might have a more passive interest, is what I'm saying. And that's fine too. I'm all for that. Nobody should be denied access. You do not have to be perfect or awesome. I'm very far from awesome. There are people who blow me away, obviously. I think everybody should, if somebody wants to try, who is anybody to tell them they can't? But also in the long run, it might not be a long-term thing. Now, I've been doing this since I was 4 or 5 years old. And though I've hit the bumps in a period, that period of it was a 10-year stagnation I'm talking about here, which I feel a lot of wasted time. A lot of buses passed me by, a lot of connections that could have been made thanks to all that, which is another reason why it's absolutely criminal to deny a person access, especially in this place. I mean, the tools are so plentiful. It's so easy to be able to take these things on, and it doesn't have to be your life goal. I want to do other things as well, and but after I gave a lot of that stuff up, in the end, all I had, after I gave everything else up, the one thing I did have left was my art, and by that time, of course, I was I think spiritually mature, and I do think it was the outside forces. I don't think I was screwing up. A lot of people will say, look at this, look what he drew when he was a teenager. I'm like, yeah, I was gone by then. Okay, I'd suffered so much abuse and so much bullying and so much just awful stuff by that point. I mean, you can say that, but not if you're not going to acknowledge all the other stuff that I went through. Okay. Rewind back to when I was still pretty innocent. I still felt really good and ambitious. You talk about the man I was in grade school. The kids, man, my friends, some of the encouraging stuff they would say to me. At the time I was in 4th grade, the entire school, now keep in mind this goes grades 1 through 6. I was voted, my drawing was voted to be the school mascot in the t-shirt design. Now, something got in the way to even mess that up. I'm very sad to say, because that was a huge thing for me. But man, you just talk. I mean, seriously, I drew a knight on a horse. So don't and also I admittedly actually and I need to be straight up. I did do a lot of violent stuff. I liked monsters and bloody stuff back then too. I'm not going to pretend I didn't. I did. But that was not the only side to me. I said there's a lot of things I can do with this, a lot of things, and those dreams, those ideas did not die until some years later. Actually, it was the age of 13 where I really took the terminal blow. I was still interested in doing kids comics up until the age of 13. That's when things actually just got so bad. That's when I started perceiving this as a curse and started just using it for ill. So you can see I get really into my zone. Where are we? Where are we so far? How are we looking, everybody? I haven't hit the save icon for a while. It's gonna feel nice to get this done. I'm glad Emily's doing okay. She's up there playing with toys. She's laughing at that Pokey Hill cartoon. What happened, sweetheart? Hey! Okay, now I'm going to apologize, even though I think that took so long that I'm just going to go ahead and edit that out of the video because that took a little too long. So I would apologize for making you wait, but since I'm going to edit that little interruption out of the video, no need. I'm sorry anyway. Okay, where should we go? Okay, you know what? Okay, cool. Progress. I can very much remember the things that really gradually pulled me out of that mess that I would have done well to be out of way earlier, but the people that came into my life that gave me some strength and encouragement, they were out there. I really am indebted to them. Of those that I am in contact with now, definitely people like Jaral and Mike. I got a lot more friends. It's just the people that came out to visit us at the conventions. The Garvey family, for inviting me to be part of their conventions in Roanoke, Virginia. Totally awesome. Great feeling. Oh yeah, but check out that Junji Ito cartoon on Crunchyroll. Check it out. Buy the book from Viz. It is awesome. Some other cool things. Man, I watched I'm going to do a video review of that and talk about it. Man, I watched a Brawl in Cell Block 99 with Vince Vaughn. Shame on me not remembering the director's name right now. He did a Bone Tomahawk with Kurt Russell. Amazing. If you ever watch, I'm talking about how, like, at some point people got to ask themselves, like, what am I doing with this gift I got? I think every artist, everybody in creativity asks themselves that. Once they grow up and get serious and stop being angry, for whatever reason. A lot of us end up getting angry. I was not meant to be an angry teenager. Was not. I was, seriously, I was never prone to negativity. It was only, it took the worst kind of abuse of my character before I really got that, lashed out like that. I think some people are more prone to anger. I was a very nice guy for a very long time, and even when I was not a nice person, I wasn't very good at it. It's like I said, I think a lot of those nice, nurturing souls that saw just how pathetic I was and reached out to me, I think they saw that this guy stinks at being a jerk. He's trying to be a dirtbag, but he stinks at it. I dare say. I don't even want to think about the times I managed to be a real horrible person. Lord knows I really and truly was. I know I was rude to the wrong people on many occasions. I would ask their forgiveness. In some cases, I didn't even know how. In some cases, my cynical attitude was just so pervasive at some point. I think, I didn't even know how to put a lid on it. And, yeah, I was mean to people who didn't deserve it. And just, talk nasty and was insulting. And, yeah, how I managed to do that? Yeah, so I pulled it off. I know I was a real jerk to a lot of people. If any of you are out there watching this, I would beg your forgiveness. I don't see when the powers the powers of negativity or evil, if you will, win over and drag you down like that. Man, it's embarrassing to think you ever went down that far. I tried, but once again, in my defense, I was an innocent kid. And I didn't know why a lot of that stuff was being done to me, and I tried to tough up and shrug it off, but I wasn't that strong to begin with, and eventually that stuff's going to pull you down if you're not tough enough. But man, if you can
find the right people to help keep you out of that. Go to church. Actually, the one time in Texas, I checked out some churches in. Not all church. I mean, I've gone to churches where people are real arrogant and everything. I mean, that's nothing new. But I mean, some people were willing to talk to you, hear you out. And briefly, I went to a church where I went into some youth groups and really liked talking to the kids there. I remember one girl I sat next to, and I don't think I was meant to hear it, but she said to her friend, "Do you think he's cute?" or something like that. I was really flattered. I said, "Wow, I'm not used to that, being called ugly and queer." Man, I remember I didn't want to do football. I stink at football. Man, I was going to school. It was such a jock school, and God bless you if you like football. I mean, I totally respect it, but I mean, I didn't want to take football. So, and all the other guys took football. It's like I said, I got out of it, and I got into a Spanish class. I was the only male in there, and I know how that looks. I said, "Look, I would rather be learning about Spanish with a bunch of girls and playing football. Call me a sis, call me a pussy. I don't care. That's me. I don't want to play football. I stink at it. I stink, and everyone laughs when I stink at it. How's that to me? I'm not going to put you in a class where we got to draw monsters and then start laughing at you, and you can say what I'm doing is so stupid and pointless. All right. Well, how much time you spent watching people throw a ball back and forth. I'm sorry, I love football. I respect it, but these people that are so daggone high and mighty, don't start judging me, okay? But yeah, I was in that class, and then even the girls were like brutal to me. They made fun of me bad. They were it was just as bad as the dudes. They were just easier to look at. That's in middle school again. Once again, that's that Texas school. Great places in Texas, though. I just was not in one of them. Okay, folks, I think we're getting to a point. This is where I think I'm going to do some shading right here, okay? We're creeping up on an hour, so even if I don't finish this, I think let's just give you the basic idea. I do want to at least get started on this patch right here, okay? And I'm sorry for not talking more about the technical aspects, but I think a part of me, a part of my soul just kind of wants to reach out to you other fellow artists who are just wondering. And I do want to finish the thought that I lost track of is I'm very apt to doing. I remember I'm a big fan of Cannibal Corpse. And Vince Locke got a lot of notoriety doing the cover art for them. Now, he also did work for Neil Gaiman's Sandman. And later on, he illustrated the graphic novel of A History of Violence, which was adapted for film by one of my favorites, David Cronenberg. Okay, so really cool. Really cool to think about how these minds evolve, And Cannibal Corpse themselves are, they made their career off very violent and disturbing, brutal stuff. Now, I'm not going to get into the conversation of their earlier albums because a lot of it, going back, while at the time it really turned my head, and everyone was saying, "How did they do this? Oh my gosh, that's terrible!" But it's like it's something you couldn't look away from. I found a lot of it questionable, objectionable. But they were kids back then when they did that kind of stuff. And I think at one point they even started using their horror for good. I mean, that sounds ludicrous, but in a way, in a very abstract way. Now, I like it better when they do their lyrics where a bad person gets his just deserves, but often it's just it is nihilism and brutality and just dread and horror and violence. But I think they do it in a way that is not as out of the way provocative as it once was, and scratches a certain itch for people who just want a real quick thrill and some amazing heavy metal music, death metal music to be more specific. So anyway, as an artist, we all ask ourselves these things. So if you're like me and you're doing stuff like this and you're wondering why you're even here or if you're meant to be here, you are, just make sure, give it a point, and even if and I still have the guilty pleasure of enjoying nihilistic entertainment from time to time. I'm not very capable of doing it. It's almost like I think my spirituality starts reaching out through everything I do. Now, I am capable of drawing a painting of something that's just disturbing and everything, but I mean, like when I'm doing a story, it's hard to do anything that's just nihilism. I'm not necessarily against doing stuff that is nihilism for an escape, something in art that is fictional. No one is being exploited Unlike how I used to be, I'm not just going out of my way to do something horrible to make you upset. You know, yeah, if you're doing stuff like this and if you're doing stuff like this, don't let the really crappy stuff out there bring you down. You're here for a reason. Don't doubt that. Don't let anybody make you doubt that. And with that, let me just shut up. You know what we're forgetting? This woman my monsters still often have nipples. So, I mean, don't ask me why. Maybe they don't need them, but this was a woman once, I guess. So let's do like they are on those college campuses and free the nipple. There, now it's a liberated monster. Now it's just like all those chauvinists at the beach. Now, I mean, that's great, Boy, she feels really liberated. Yeah, there we go. Awesome. You'll forgive. My sense of humor still is. I talk about my spirituality and stuff. I still don't consider myself a saint. I don't think my sense of humor is very mainstream either. That really used to throw a lot of lame brains off. I don't care if you don't have the same sense of humor as me, but if you don't have a sense of humor at all, or you just don't get some of these things, if you don't, I very much do not trust people that aren't able to laugh at things. People call me weird, and I'm not going to deny that, but man, I think the kind of frightening weird is people who can't laugh at stuff. So they're also the same people that seem to be on a power trip and think you gotta be just like them. I am very leery of folks like that. So if you don't get the joke, you don't have to laugh at it, but if you can't acknowledge a joke or you think something's wrong with it, then you're the one with real problems. So there. Nah. So have you enjoyed watching me putting all this texture in? This has been a lot of fun for me. I love doing stuff like this when I get the time. And that's another thing I was talking about earlier that I didn't get to finish. The flow of a comic, Yeah, I guess I covered the points. You got to let people slow down, but give them a page, at least 2 pages per issue that they can dig into. Just some big, like, this is the big reveal. This is something like you're watching a movie, you see this, and that's the OMG, if you will, moment. Or perhaps in some cases like this one, the WTF moment. Ha ha ha. Yeah. Only do a little shading, and I don't. Oh man, that's too big. Man, I swear every time I'm working. I'm illustrating a children's book right now, and obviously I'm not going to let my little girl's friends take a gander at this stuff. This is just too creepy. I don't want. They say the other day they told me Scooby-Doo gives them nightmares. I said, it's funny is that our little friend that comes over to play, she said Scooby-Doo gives her nightmares because we've been watching Scooby-Doo, and I said that's funny because Emily had some nightmares. Well, not funny, but I mean, And it's like I say, the scariest thing she watches is Scooby-Doo. Now this other girl was talking about how she had some nightmares. A morbid nightmare, and she said Scooby-Doo gives her nightmares. And I'm like, well, I can't feel too bad for Scooby-Doo yet. Anyway. Where's that? Oh, yeah, but at the time, I said, okay, the kids are, if they come waltz over here and I'm not paying attention and they look, I don't want to be responsible for a nightmare. So I was working on the children's book illustration. Now, the way it is with kids, you know how they are. Like, they see you playing with something, they got to play with it. You can have an entire... I'm not going to lift the camera up to show you, but you can have all these toys like we got around here, all these cartoons. You got Netflix. It is the best time in the world to be a kid if you are bored. If it's too cold outside, we have made this society and all this entertainment industry and everything has made it so easy. And still, despite that yearning to be outside, but besides that, all these things, and they see me doing this, and they say, can I do that? I'm like, oh my God, seriously? They're like, look, I want to get some stuff done. And so then they both had to do it. They had to do all this stuff, and they say, you know, they had to take turns. I'm like, you guys have all this art stuff over there. It's like you have no, you know, I know the tablet is fun. I know it's cool because you're doing digital art. It's neat, yeah, for sure. But I started saying, like, look, I wanted to get my work done, okay? It was driving me crazy. I was sitting there idling. That's the one thing. The kids are playing happily together. I get to get some work done. And then it's like, and then they invade that. It's funny. Yo, before we move on, I just want to say it's been an hour and 6 minutes. I should wrap this up soon, even if I don't. I'm not going to finish this whole thing. I do want to get to this section so I can show you a little bit of that. Okay. I just want to say thank you all who have watched this. I want to say my friends out there, you know who you are. I love you all. Thank you. And I don't know. Just thank you. Emily's got her first swim school today. That's going to be pretty fun. What else is going on? I don't know. Yeah, swim team should be fun. It'd be great if they could let the parents swim too in a separate area, but I know they can't do that, so I kind of got to sit there. I would really like a nice swim. What is going on in horror that I should talk about? I don't know. Lots of cool stuff. Lots of cool independent stuff, I suppose. I always got to mention Martin Trafford. It's been a great support, and lots of them. Could talk about the first person who kind of let me break into comics, Kelly Young. Great guy, great motivator. Really helped me grow. Great experience doing work for him. Awesome guy to work for if you like doing comics. So a lot of haters I see doing like horror fiction. Like, I don't know why you're so negative. You're into horror and you're like taking yourself so seriously. You know, just have fun. You know, do good by it. I mean, just like a lot of people seem to be just making commentaries on how crappy the world is. Shut up. A lot of them seem like really self-indulgent. Like, man, I'm making a statement. Whatever. Should I mention all these shout outs I'd like to make, but I don't think the people in question are even gonna listen. I should mention I really like Lisa Zane. Check out her music. She was such a sweet woman. You know, there's two kinds of entertainer artists out there. There's the ones who care about their fans and the ones that don't. And getting to communicate a little bit with Lisa Zane was really cool. I remember she told me she was selling the dress from Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. You know, I love that movie. A lot of people don't talk about it. I loved that one. That's the one I got to see in the theater as a kid. Don't ask how. But I mean, like, yeah, she's selling the dress from that film and asked me if I knew it. I was like, man, I just don't have the kind of money for it, and I felt bad I didn't have the kind of connections. I'm sure it got sold. I mean, there's got to be a collector. I just felt bad I couldn't be the person with the to know the person who was looking for it, because Lisa Zane is a wonderful person, great singer. Norm Macdonald's a really funny guy, incidentally. Okay, all right. What do you think, everybody? Is that enough shading? That's good enough. Let's not make it too murky, all right? Okay, look. I'm gonna deselect this panel. Okay, we're about done. Before I do anything, let me fill in the mouth and give this guy some monstrous teeth. I like some of these like leech type people. I like giving them tubular mouths with like rows of little sharp teeth that they use to devour bully is from Texas middle school. So if you are a bully, you're probably not watching this. You're probably like, dude, I'm so good at football. I'm so awesome. Check me out. I'm so good, man. I'm better than you. Oh man, look at that guy over there. He's drawing. He must be a queer. If you're one of those guys, like this is the monster. I mean, you're probably not watching this. You're probably like just looking at yourself in the mirror and I don't know. I don't want to know what else you're doing while you're doing that. While you're looking at yourself, but I mean like. This is the monster that is coming for you. If you are a mean head, if you call people the P word, this guy will bite off your genitals. It will stink. Trust me. See what he's about to do to this piece of pseudo demonic sushi? Yeah. That's you, pal. Okay. Bop. Uh-oh. Do you see it kind of selected right here? I don't want stuff in there. I'll just remember to erase it. Let's see. So what do you think? What do you think, friends? Oh, poop on a stick. We might be out of luck, folks. If I can't get this issue resolved with the quickness, I'm going to save it for another day. I don't want to do that. I did promise I could do this. Do you see this is highlighting? It's getting, okay, cool. Did I secure the leak or is it getting in through here? All right, you see when it invades part of the illustration, you do not want to fill it. There it is. There it is. It got in there. That's no big deal because it's just a small area there. I can save that for later, okay? Not getting in here. Yeah, if the selection gets into this guy, we do not want that. That defeats the purpose of this, keeping this easy, right? Yeah, so I think that's good enough. We got this one area. I mean, if you don't make a mental note, it doesn't matter because you will see it. Okay. You know what? No, I should have put... No. It's okay. It's okay. Let's... oh, poop. I really want to get some of this done. So let's get into hyper mode here. Do you want to see if I can maintain quality while I do this faster? I mean, I did say... I mean, I was kind of going at a casual pace. We're getting in the background right now, okay? Why don't we just pretend we got a deadline? Let's do an experiment here. See if Lee can run his mouth about all this random stuff and make some progress at a speedier rate. See, now I do feel bad I didn't do this quicker, but I did want to kind of go at my own pace. I want to talk about what I want to talk about. My friend the other day, he watched a fraction of my first video. He said I didn't talk about the technical aspects enough. I said, you know, it wasn't entirely the point, you know, not this time around. I will talk about that, but more than anything, I think I just want to hang out with friends, and you can watch my style and technique. You want to learn about manga style, manga studio. There are, of course, videos where you can get right down to the nitty-gritty of it, and that is awesome. You have that option. For now, the purpose of this is to hang out with you friends and tell you a little bit about myself and my own journey this has been, and encourage you to do the best you can with your life and ignore negative voices. And I don't care how cheesy it sounds or how many dumb things you've done with your life, God does love you. That sounds really cheesy. People make fun of that sentiment all the time, but the higher power did bless you with this life, so don't feel too abandoned. And if people treat you like crap, that's not God's fault. Don't be like I was back then and blame it on God. Don't blame God. That's just people with free will using that free will to be jerks. It's nothing new. And frankly, it could be a whole lot worse. Free will can be an awful, awful thing in the hands of weak idiots that have been taken down and never cared to get back up. They will take you down too if they want. Don't let them do that. You can turn the tide by being as awesome as you can be. And despite whatever has happened to you, to keep rocking and kicking butt. Even if you're drawing a big maggoty monster from another dimension, just assume there are already people out there stationed to tell you what a worthless endeavor it is. And they don't need to know about everything you gave up for other people. They don't care. They probably don't. They shouldn't judge you, but they will. But who cares? Because they suck. If you remind yourself that God is goodness and none of this negative crap that humans manage, you will perhaps drop the negativity of those kind of sentiments that I make. And I will make those. So that's who I am, and I feel I'm indebted. I was saved from falling very far. And I still feel bad I am still penitent for how far I fell and how negative my mind and my mouth became. And as a parent, I will tell you, if anyone starts saying, my daughter has mental problems because she likes to draw this or that, I will tell them, no, you have a mental problem. And you're a poo-poo head. Say, hey, let's medicate somebody. They're creative. They're not good enough at putting numbers together. I think they got a chemical for that. Here you go. How old's the kid? What? 7? Okay, there you go. That ought to do it. Or give him more drugs. Just give him more drugs. What? What? Seriously? Not very good at math. Drugs. Give him drugs. No problem. Here, take these chemicals. Later on in life, when they're all messed up and you catch them smoking marijuana, you say, how could you do such a thing? It's like, next time encourage their gifts and they won't start screwing up. She is watching something funny up there. Maybe she's just listening to her daddy saying, man, my dad's a goofball. Nah, she can't hear me. That Pokio is a funny cartoon for her. She had me come up there. That's why I had to take a break back there. She had me come up there and watch. She had this little controller that was making people disappear. We made our first movie. Check out Emily's Quest for the Magic Statue. Check that out next time you get a chance. It is funny, I think. She's got the closing line that just makes the thing really funny. So, and she really liked it. So, I mean, I love making movies. I want to make some more. I had a lot of difficulties. A lot of forces were going after my childhood desire to make movies. That was a real dream come true. You watch the Mossy Rock film, you'll hear me talk about it. But man, that was hard getting that thing off the ground. Amazing, because I mean, when you take into consideration, things finally fell into place, and that was, I mean, God, how long? I mean, I've been wanting to make movies since I knew what a movie was. So that was, and I was like 30 something by the time I got my feature length done. I gotta admit, guys, I'm taking some time out for art and doing some children's books. I'm getting back. Once I'm done with this Door to Death, I really owe some time to Cranberry Death Sauce. So those of you out there who enjoyed Cranberry Death Sauce, don't worry. The time is nigh for more Cranberry Death Sauce. But I'm really on the side. I'm hoping to get things lined up for some film work, and that is totally a thing about passion, because I don't really have the resources to go above and beyond what I've done previously. But I do want to set up a project where I can take a little more time. I want to get Micah and Jarrell involved at some point, but maybe, I don't know if for the next project, if I can get enough ingredients in line. I would like to do something locally with Micah and Jarrell participating for some bit parts. What they would do is film their parts over in Virginia, and and send the materials to me. But I really want to do film again. Okay, now do you see I've kind of made a mistake because we're taking the focus off of here, so I'm going to put a lot of shading. I was going to make most of this black, but I'm having a great time filling this in. Are you having a good time too? No? I'm sorry. So let's hurry this up. Okay, okay. You say, oh, poop. That doesn't look good. Sometimes I get mixed up of which part is highlighted and which is not. And I start. Do you see? This is great. With this, I'm drawing behind this horrible creature, and nothing and it's not the ink. The ink. I don't. Where the traditional way you got to sit there and worry over crisscrossing the lines where they should not be crisscrossing. You don't have to worry about that. I love it. I love digital drawing. So. Okay, so I think I can put maybe black back here. All right, let's just do black back there, give a little solid, give people a little rest, and they do need to focus on the action right here. So how are we going to remedy this situation? We're going to put some heavier, significantly heavier shading. And I'm not even saying that my method is going to fix the problem I have created for myself by getting too carried away with the detail. And that's exactly what happened there, and I don't really regret it because I love looking at this gnarly detail, and maybe it will serve me better in the long run. But once again, I'm using airbrush gauze. I'm using the brush right there, doing gauze. I'm going to get a kind of deep gray tone and touch it around here. You know what? Let's go a little darker. Oh, I wasn't even on the right. Okay. Get a little darker. Now I want to maintain some of this detail so people can feast their eyes on a lot of the gnarly stuff going on here. I don't want to obscure it too much. Now I do want to darken it enough that we can focus on the lighter stuff, which is the action at hand. Now this is back in the shadows anyway, so you know with illustration obviously we do have the option of we've got the option of darkening things where in reality they wouldn't be too dark. But in this, obviously in the foreground is the action that we are focused on, and so it makes sense. Back in the shadows, you can look at the details. That's fun, and that didn't take me too awful long to do anyway. I'm not sacrificing too much. I think we learned a lesson here today. I can go a lot faster. Now I took my sweet time on this. We're almost at an hour and a half. This is a long video. Forgive me. But you know what? I don't regret it this time. Okay, look at this. Yes, here we are. Yeah. See, I like this detail, so I'm being a little cautious with how much I obscure it, but I still feel like we need to see more. We need a better. But another thing, people are going to look at this and probably try to figure out what's going on. I hope. You can see that. Actually, now that I'm looking at it on the monitor, I mean, I do notice it. So, I mean, I'll take that as a reference. I don't know why. Down here, I'm focusing more on the halos distracting me. I think I could probably put a little more black, a little more shading there to bring out that big, delicious filet of sushi. Man, doesn't that make you hungry? It does make my gravy. Good Lord. Man, that looks delicious. I can't stand it. Okay, so I'm taking a risk. I just turned it off. Now I can go back. Do I really need more coffee? What do they call those things that make you immune? Why can't I remember that? It's called it. What the fruit is it called? I cannot believe it. What is my issue? Okay, I just noticed the halo is going inside this strand of flesh. Let's remedy that. Vaccination. Haha, vaccination, boy. Yeah. I'm a genius, man. I'm glad. Now I'm really glad I'm not a doctor, because I'd be like, well, you know, I can't believe I could remember that word. I'd be like, let's give you your, what is that thing that makes the disease not happen? Okay, your spiritual energy can be a vaccination to this kind of invasive thing. Yeah, it's a vaccination. So you might eat this horrible sushi, but you're probably in the clear. Don't worry. Okay, do you see? Do you see? But like, I didn't realize it's gonna make the black background when I did this. I'm gonna show you actually before I get to that. So I made kind of this black shading back there. So and now that's just becoming really obscure. But you see, we got those cool little lines that sound like glinting in the darkness, and I kind of like that. But I'm probably still, and that should give you an idea of actually how you can play around with this. One thing I'm gonna do. Hold on. See, I want to put a little shading. Oh, poop. All right. Okay, I want to put a little shading behind the mouth. See that? Let's bring out this woman's scary mouth a little more. See? Isn't that nice? Or so to speak? Yeah. All right. It's going to feel so good to get this page done. I've been having so much fun with Door to Death issue 6. I really, I hope y'all check it out. I think the fans are out there, but I don't have the promotional team. So feel free to not bully. I mean to recommend this to your friends. You don't have to threaten them. Yeah, don't threaten them. That's not cool. I mean, just tell them to check this out. Now, as a special surprise to those of you that have actually watched this and listened to me run my mouth all this time, I have every intention of making issue 6 totally free. And I would sit here and pretend that that's like some big awesome thing, but we all know the truth is that a lot of people aren't going to buy it anyway. So I'm going to make it a free promotion. And so it would do you good if you like this kind of thing to watch for that promotion. Yeah, some people will discover it anyway, and a lot of people are just get something because it's free, and that's cool. Maybe they'll discover something. Once again, because I don't like to compare myself to the great Junji Ito, but I will say that if you like Junji Ito, there's a pretty good chance you'll like this kind of stuff. It's not on the same level of quality. You know what? It's pretty good though. I'm gonna give myself that today. I'm patting myself on the back. I've been feeling pretty good about my illustrations. Not great, but definitely my monsters. I'm happy with my monsters. If you like monsters, then I think Door to Death is safe. I'll give myself credit there. My human characters, I don't want to say there's something left to be desired. It's just my style is not. I understand. It's not so amazing that you're gonna flip over how I draw humans, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm happy with how I draw them. I'm good enough with it. It's like I said, if you're happy with, where you're at, that's good enough. There's always room for improvement, and I am still improving. Every time I draw, I'm refining my technique. I think it's almost done. I feel like I could just run my mouth even more. I really have fun. It's very therapeutic. I get to open up. I think just drawing. I mean, besides just talking about the style, I like to just talk about just this life, and just this calling, if you will. All right, let's do something special. We're almost at the 1.5 hour mark, so save it. Take one more little look. Actually, what am I saying? There's a couple spots. Let me touch up a couple quick spots, and I swear we're done. You're going to see. Okay. It's some shading right there. Thank you. And let's get this guy's hair. I was going to make it darker. Let's give it some highlights. He's standing in the foreground. That'll just have to do. Like I said, it ain't perfect, but what is? It just is what it is. Take it or leave it. All right, and let us export into an image file. Yes, so awesome. Okay, I think at this point I've got 14 done and 15 is in the works. I really wanted to do this page. Once again, I saved this for you all. For those of you that have stuck around, that have watched any portion of this, I very much appreciate y'all. Once again, I hope this has been fun for you. I imagine a lot of you like watching monsters being drawn, though I completely understand not many people have the kind of time to afford. This has gone on a while, and I do apologize, but it's been worth it to me. I mean, maybe next time I'll try to go faster. I think next time I tune in, I'm going to save y'all a simpler page. I want to do a breezy page, maybe get it done in half the time if at all possible. Let's look at, that was page, what, 12? Totally forgot. I wasn't paying attention. Is it 12? No. There it is. Page 13. So what do you think? I'm looking at it. I like it just fine. I love having a page like this. I might even, you know what? I mean, I'm just putting it out there because not many people know about Door to Death anyway. So I might put this up on my Facebook. Check out my Patreon. I'm going to start loading up. I don't have any subscribers still right now. And if I do, obviously, this stuff is going up. But these pages are all going to be up there. I mean, you can just buy the comic when it's out for the Kindle. I don't think there's going to be a physical comic of this. I do not think. Though I might change my mind later because I'm really happy with it. But it's not practical because the paperbacks don't really sell. When you can get a Kindle, everyone's got it. Everyone's got a device these days. They can read a Kindle if they really want. And it's cheaper. I think the cheapest I can get is free, 3. Like I said, I'm going to have a free promotion. But you know, I'm really iffy about a physical release of this, unless a publisher out there wants to do it. Hi publishers, how you doing? I want to start naming names. Hey Viz, how you doing? No, I would not expect to be on the level where anyone was going to invite me for that. But if you're watching right now and you want to represent this, give me a holler. That's reaching right there. Okay. Well, hey, let me tell you all in person, thank you again. Boy, this has been a lot of fun. My daughter, okay, and though my daughter is homesick today, I think that's enough toys and cartoons. She seems to be doing good out there. Okay, anyway, God bless y'all, and have a great day. That's all I can think of. Bye.
Door to Death, Volume 1, Revived Hive, collecting the first 5 issues of Door to Death in the single Charlotte comic. Oh man, it's so brutal, it's gonna make you puke blood all over the place. Totally blood puking, awesome, nasty. So savage, just kill yourself. It smells like crap. It's so awesome. It'll make your girlfriend spray love sauce all over the walls, and then you'll go crazy. Pick up a copy for your nephew. He'll think you're the coolest uncle ever. Kill me, even though no one ever called you. You're still loved. Never give up hope.